G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Uncharted Fishing. This week we have something a little bit different to usual. So obviously we're starting to get into a little bit cooler months. So water temperatures drop by 3 or 4 degrees, which means a lot of the fish that are sitting up on the edges that we've been catching in the past few episodes starting to come into the middle of the dam and starting to sit in those deeper sort of more stable water temperature areas. So what that means for us is sitting on schools all day, which for you guys is a hell of a lot less interesting, but we can make a little bit of entertainment out of that and I guess a little bit of education about what we're doing. So over the past couple of weeks, you would have seen me doing a lot of crankbaiting from the edges. And then obviously, I think in the last episode, we started to move into those deeper sort of waters and jigging for bigger fish. So what I thought I would do this week is run through a little bit of a gear run through, what I'm using, how I'm using it, and kind of putting 2 and 2 together so you can see how the sausage is made, I guess, and then what we're doing. First, we'll run through, we've got, I think that is a little laser pointer XD. I think it sits about 70 mil. And that's paired up with a 1000 Vanford, and then I'm pretty certain I'm running 6-pound line on that. That's paired up then to an Infeet rod, which I'm looking at now as a 1 to 4 kilo. From what I can gather, they're hot property at the moment, and they are an exceptionally good rod for what they are. Like, I've caught plenty of jacks on them in brim tournaments, and I've caught more brim than you can poke a stick at. So they are a very, very good value for money rod. I think I paid at the time maybe 120 bucks. Kind of in that early inception sort of period for Daiwa Infeet rods. I think a 7'2". Again, a very, very, very good quality rod. Which then brings me into setup 2. So setup 2 is a good, just bash lures into the wall of the house. Setup 2 is, again, another Daiwa Infeet rod. So that same setup we saw before, which was just the 1 to 4 kilo again. It is 7 foot, 1 to 4 kilo. And then this one we've paired up with a 2000 size, I believe it's a 2000 size. Let me triple check that so I'm not telling porkies. It's a 2500 size Infeet X reel. Which again was, at the time it was a cheapie, so I think I might have paid 180 bucks for that. Then paired that up with the Infeet rod. It's a sexy looking piece of kit, which is half the battle, I guess, with fishers, because you're probably not selling the lure to the fish, you're selling the lure to the angler. But this is, again, it's a go-to for me. So I have been using this with a lot of heavier lures, just because it's a little bit heavier reel and line. So I think the line is 8 to 10 pound. And leader pretty well across the board are running somewhere in between 8 to 12 pound. So this setup, as I think you'll see maybe in my last video, if not, you'll definitely see it in this video, is an old tail spinner. I couldn't tell you what brand it is. I have a feeling that this was, I think it was an old range. There'll be a few of you out there that remember an old BCF brand called Kato. And I'm pretty sure at the time I was working in stores at BCF and they were in the run out. So I grabbed them in a run out, like the clearance bin at BCF for probably 5 or 10 bucks and pulled it out for the first time, I think almost ever, maybe a month or 2 ago. And the thing is just, they're absolute dynamite. They fish a little bit different, but they're great. Like they for bass at least. I haven't used them obviously for any other species, but I imagine for yellow belly and the likes, they're probably very, very similar. Quite heavy. I think that one's probably about 20 or 30 grams. But when you're chasing schools and a lot of that deeper water bass, right, you're chasing a lot more area than you're chasing necessarily specific fish. But even when we're sitting on schools jigging, they work an absolute treat. So would strongly recommend, if you haven't already, add it to the arsenal. They're very, very good. Right, so on to the next one. We have our baitcaster rods. So this one here is a Abu Garcia Premier. It's a Revo Premier, sorry, which I have a feeling they've discontinued. So again, this is a lot of my kit I've had for a very, very long time. And until they die, I really don't have any intention of changing them over. So that one actually, before we move on to the lure, is paired to I couldn't tell you what brand the rod is, but it's called a Browser. A Browser, part of a native series. I think it might be Savage Gear. So again, leaning back on my past working in BCF stores, but these were a range of kind of, I guess, like cod rods that they brought out for quite some time. So I think that's a 4 to 7 kilo rod. Honestly, it's probably too heavy for what I'm doing, but it is what it is. I'm not buying any more gear than I necessarily have to. Especially when you're only chasing school bass. Like school bass, generally speaking, going to be quite a bit bigger. So yeah, that's, again, it's a 200 size reel. So it's actually, is it 200? No, it's a 150 size reel. So again, quite a bit smaller. We're not chasing giants, right? Like if we were chasing creek bass and we know that they get to 50, 55 centimeters, then definitely I would absolutely bump that size of reel up. And if we're using bigger lures. So the braking for what is, I think, a 25 gram spoon, it really don't need the braking capacity that a 200 or a bigger size reel would have. So for now, that works an absolute treat. I've caught plenty of really, really good fish on it. And again, reiterating, we're not trying to drag them out of structure, so we don't need bigger drag capacity. Everything's pretty chill. So it's a pretty clear bottom. We can back the drag right off and really, really relax. But nevertheless, this one is paired on 12-pound leader. And again, I think it's 15-pound mainline. Keep going back to it, but it is realistically, we're fishing flat bottoms, so we don't have to stress too much again. So I can let the fish chill. If it wants to take me for a bit of a trip, we can float with it. It's not really much of a drama at all. If I was fishing some pretty heavily structured areas, I'd probably be looking more to that 15 to 20 pound mark. But again, we're not. So this one has become a bit of a dynamite lure, but that is a hot bite gangbanger. Not usually a big fan of spoons, but I've had a couple of trips with some of the boys and they have absolutely annihilated bass. I'm typically more of a TN50 kind of guy. These are absolutely dominating. I've used a pretty broad array of these lures. So I've used the green, the blue, the purple. I think there might be a couple more colors, but I lost my green one last week. I was absolutely gutted, and I definitely haven't had the conversion I've had with the other colors. Whether that's actually a big thing or not, or I got the bite time right. Nevertheless, these lures are very, very good. They catch everything. Unfortunately, they catch eels, but everything is just super attracted to these lures. So very much like a slow pitch jig that you'd be using offshore, maybe in a shallow reef. Like this is very much the flutter and the flash. They're very, very shiny lures. So they work an absolute charm. Running the dual stingers at the top with a single treble at the bottom, they work an absolute treat. So definitely recommend everyone should probably have some form of spoon in their bag. Okay, so lucky last. This one is relatively new to my my collection, and it's a cheapie. So I was lucky enough that my brother actually went over to Japan in December or January. Anyway, Japan have an insane secondhand market over there. So there was a couple of reels that I wanted to try that I'm probably not willing to commit $300-400 to in Australia. So the first one was the Daiwa Tatula in the 100 size. So the intention for it was to fish it super, super light. So it's rigged up with 6-pound Shimano, forget the name of the braid. It's a JDM braid. And I just wanted to pair something super, super light to it. So the reel itself's in pretty bloody good nick. I think I paid maybe $100 for it, which I'll cop that all day, every day. And it's going on a super cheap combo, so I didn't want to blast too much money into the setup. I paired that up with a Daiwa Revros in the 6'6". I think it's a 4 to 9 kilo rod. Sounds very heavy again. But when I was running through the shop with this, was kind of just all I wanted was a reasonably soft tip. I was going to be throwing a lot of my lighter jigging lures, so my TN50s, anything kind of, like any of my vibes, whether it's soft vibes or the TN50s. So this one is paired up with a, I think this one is the Brown Dog TN50. And again, running 6 to 8 pound braid. Believe this has got 10 pound leader on it. And again, super, super light. Just trying to give ourselves the best shot at getting as many fish as possible. You guys would have seen the past few videos. We've probably struggled to get bigger numbers. So I'm really trying to back the leader down as much as possible whilst giving us the best chance to still have a really good landing rate. So that's pretty much it for now. What I'm going to do is I will crop a little photo in the bottom corner of each of the fish videos, so you'll get an understanding of what I'm using at the time and kind of how I'm using it. So you will hopefully have a pretty good idea of what we're looking at and how we're using it. If you have any questions, shoot a few questions in the comments. If you have any questions about the actual kit that I'm using, why I'm using it, how I'm using it, so on and so forth, let me know. I'm going to pop all of the information in the description. I'll find out what the leader was, the braid was called that I'm using on almost all of my setups, and I'll pop that in the comments as well. So hopefully you enjoy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a good fish, I think. Yeah, good fish. Happy with that. Oh, you and me both. You and me both. Yeah, he's inhaled it too. Oh, that's not ideal. I've woken them up. There's about 40 fish here. If you troll back over here, there's about 40 odd fish here, all up off the bottom. Alright. 40, bang on 40. How bloody good. That is a good fish. Drift back on them, so see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 big-ish fish. So actually we're going to drift back, so let's drop him down there. Yep, got him. Almost straight away. That's unreal. Push that forward. I don't think he's very big, but we'll take anything at this point. Actually, he's not a bad fish. Tell you what, they absolutely destroy it, which is all well and good, but I don't particularly love them swallowing it that bad. There you go, that's a very, very, very healthy looking fish. Be 35 to 38 maybe. Healthy, healthy boy. Thanks, big fella. If we can, I would really like to get back down straight away because they're there. Picked it up so effortlessly. Oh, just back that off a little bit because we don't want him to. I've just realised I didn't check my leader, so I'm going to back that drag right off, and we're just going to wear him out. So we could be here a little minute. That's another good fish. Hey, take it easy, would ya? I don't particularly want to lose that lure. That's a good fish. That's a very good fish. Within the same couple of casts, which is lovely. Alright. Same again, I'm really not appreciating how much they're swallowing these things. So again, he's not near the 50, so I'm not going to measure him, but again, it's probably at that 40 centimeter mark. So healthy. So healthy. Yeah. Oh, that's a bigger fish. That's a big boy. Ooh. Oh, you feel that treble pulling through his face. Just back that off. We're in no hurry. Come up. Be good, be good. Yeah, it's a good piece of bass. Now, where to put my scissors? There they are. Oh. Oh, comparatively to the others, he's only just pinned. He's an angry dude. Just try and support his belly there. That's still soaking wet. Now I am too. What do we got? Say 39.5. Mate, he fought like an absolute train. Switch over to the vibe. See if the rattle's going to get them going, because that seems to be annoying them, but not necessarily enough to really get them going. All right. There we go. We're back on them again, which is nice. Yep, got him. Great change. He's not the biggest one we've caught today, I don't think. Give me some curry. Wait, that's a pretty good fish, I reckon. Wait, you stay away from that. Wait. Well, that is a good old-fashioned fluke, that. I don't know how we've done that, but we have a fish. Okay. Actually, I didn't need pliers because the lure's out of his mouth. You, my friend, would have to be one of the unluckiest bass in this dam. Look at that. Does not get much better than that. Thank you, my friend. Well, certainly can't be disappointed with that change. Oh God, this is frustrating. Look at them all there. That is a school of fish that is feeding. It's kind of a strange hook up, that one, because I could, when you vibe these jackalls, you can, like, we're in 5 meters of water here, you can hear the vibe through the water, and with that one I was letting it drop and I heard the vibe go without any tension, and then sure enough lift up and there's a fish on it. But I don't know if I've ever had that happen to me before. Yeah, got ya. He was hard on the bottom. Not very big. It's a very polite eat too. Not very aggressive. See you, bro. Oh, yep. On the paws. How good. Wait. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if he's much bigger, but he's definitely stronger. Oh, yeah, good fish. my God. He hit that like a freight train too. Cut across here if you want. They're all kind of just there. Yeah, you'll be right on them then. All right. There we go. That's the biggest one I've caught in a little while. 1, 2, about 43, 44. I reckon I'll go straight into another one here too, eh? My God, they're everywhere. Yep, there he is. Oh. So strong. Be late 30s again. Be another one that's late 30s. Oh. You do another lap, say 15 behind me. Hit some schools. Yeah, yep, gotcha.
Would he be able to borrow a blade off you?
Yeah, of course, 100%. Oh, you were little, now you're big. Oh, yep, there we go. Better. It's not very big, I don't think. Oh, it's not a bad fish, actually. We'll take it.